Good evening, fellow Rotarians. Welcome to this, our District 7030 President-elect Learning Seminar, our fourth session. And our topic today is Building Our Legacy, Strengthening Our Rotary Foundation. My name is Errol Samuel, Assistant Past Governor, Rotary Club of Antigua. And with me, my host moderator, is District Learning Facilitator-elect Tanya Weston. I would like to welcome all of us. Specifically, I would like to welcome our past District Governor Wadi, our District Governor-elect Soraya Warner Gustav, and our presenters, Regional Grant Officer Renee Reeling and District Annual Fund Subcommittee Chair Dr. Sharon Cordner, and all the other past district governors, presidents-elect, secretary-elect, directors-elect, and any assistant governor and past assistant governor that we may have this evening. We should have a very exciting discussion this evening on the Rotary Foundation. We would like to thank all of you for joining us tonight again and for joining us for the last 3 sessions. The feedback we have are quite interesting, and I hope that you find this one equally enjoyable and interested as well. Just for some protocols, please turn off your mics. We like to see your beautiful faces, so turn on your cameras if you can. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and you can write them in caps. And we encourage you at the end of the session to complete the evaluation form. I must admit, for the past 3 sessions, the evaluation has been very limited. We like to have your feedback so we can improve as we go along. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our district governor nominee this evening. So I want Gustav. I know she has been introduced for the last 3 sessions, but just in case that you have joined us for the first time, DGE Soraya has been a member of the Rotary Club of St. Lucia from March 2010. She serves as president in the year 2018 to 2019. Soraya has served in other capacities on the club's board and continues to be an active member of her club. As a district level, she served as district secretary during the Rotary year 2020-2021. From 2021, she served for 3 terms as a district interact chair and has been instrumental in revitalizing the growing district 7030's interact community. Soraya is passionate about interact and is keenly focused on the upskilling of youth in service and leadership, and by extension, the shaping of leaders for the future. She's a Paul Harris Fellow, a charter and continuing member of the District 70 Polio Plus Society, and a member of the Paul Harris Society. Soraya is a corporate banking professional, having served in the banking and financing industry for over 30 years, and is currently the general manager and assistant vice president of an alternative investment firm. She believes that the beauty and the essence of Rotary is this extraordinary opportunity that it brings through numerous channels to serve, transform, and make a difference in our world. Fellow Rotarians, let us welcome our district governor nominee, Sonia Soraya.
Thank you so much, Past Assistant Governor Errol. And good evening to everyone. And thank you again for your attendance at this PELS Foundation session, which is titled Building Our Legacy, Strengthening Our Rotary Foundation. I want to start off by acknowledging all of our past district governors on the call, our assistant governors and other district leaders, and of course, all of our incoming club presidents, secretaries, and club officers. Welcome, everyone. Tonight's session will actually be led by our District Rotary Foundation Chair, past District Governor Wadi Selma, who will soon be formally introduced along with our very special presenters. We are very privileged to have with us Rotary International's Regional Grants Officer, Rennie Riling, and as well our own District 7030 Annual Fund Chair, past Assistant Governor Sharon Cordner. And I am absolutely thrilled and really excited to hear their presentations this evening. But before I hand over, I'd like to comment a bit on our 2025-2026 Foundation objectives. You may recall from our launch event that during the upcoming Rotary year, we want to encourage increased individual and club giving. We want to ensure that there is complete understanding of our grant processes, more specifically global grants, with the outcome being a larger take-up of these grants to include district grants as well. So our session tonight delves into these areas for more effective grant utilization, for increased fund contributions, and explores the myriad of opportunities that our foundation offers, which will equip all of us with the knowledge and tools necessary to lead with confidence and inspire our clubs towards greater achievements. So as we take on our positions of leadership, let us remember that the Rotary Foundation is our very own charity, and the strength of and continuation of its legacy lies in our collective commitment and support. Thank you again for being here with us tonight, and I now hand over to past District Governor Wadi. Thank you so much.
Okay, before Wadi, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce past District Governor Wadi, so we know exactly who is presenting or who is moderating. Wadi Samor is from Suriname. He's an entrepreneur and dedicated Rotarian with a strong background in microeconomics. Wadi joined Rotary in 2002 as a charter member of the Rotary Club of Paramolia residents, a dynamic club with 65 members. Over the years, he has served in various leadership positions, including treasurer, club president, and secretary. In 2012-2013, he became an assistant governor for Suriname, a role he continued while simultaneously serving as the club secretary in 2013-2014. His commitment to Rotary led him to serve as a district secretary in 2014-2015, and he was later elected to lead Rotary District 7030 as district governor for 2017 to 2018 term. Wadi is passionate about the Rotary Foundation and its global and local impact. His true engagement with Rotary deepened when he joined the Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Committee of his club, which successfully executed multiple sanitation projects with financial support from the Rotary Foundation. Currently, he served as a director at the District Rotary Foundation Chair, continuing to promote and support Rotary's mission of service and philanthropy. Wadi enjoys attending Rotary district conferences and international conventions, where he values the opportunity to connect with new and old friends alike. His leadership, service, and generosity continue to make a lasting impact with his community and beyond. Brothers and sisters of Rotary, I present past District Governor Wadi.
Thank you, Past Assistant Governor Arrow. Thank you for this introduction. Excuse me. I have the honor and the privilege to introduce our first presenter. And as already mentioned by District Governor-elect Soraya, Renee Riling, our Regional Grants Officer at the Rotary Foundation. And think that Renee can explain how pivotal she is with regard to our applications and submitting district and global grants from our district. Renee has been part of Rotary for nearly 28 years, dedicating her career to the Rotary Foundation. She initially focused on managing applications for the former Ambassadorial Scholarship Program, while also coordinating the development of educational programs, publications, and overseeing public relations initiatives. For the past 12 years, she has worked in Rotary Grants and currently serves as a Regional Grants Officer, supporting district grants, global grant scholarships, and global grant humanitarian projects, and vocational training teams across the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. Originally from Skokie, Illinois, Renee now lives in Niles, Illinois, with her husband Rob and their lovable Yorkie Poo. The name is Whiskey. A drunk Yorkie Poo? I don't know. She holds a bachelor's degree in French with a minor in psychology from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois, and also gained international experience through her studies abroad in Paris, France. May I ask Renee Riling to give her the first presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wadi. Can everybody see my presentation without notes?
With notes,
With
unfortunately.
notes.
It's with notes?
Yes,
Yes.
All
Renee.
right. Hold on.
It's good now.
You're fast. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, but now I can't see it. My notes. Hang on. I'm so sorry. So it would be this. I am so sorry. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I do here. And you're saying you're seeing it?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. This is terrible. Hold on.
Not to worry, Renee.
Take it
Perhaps we
easy.
can go
Take
ahead
it
with-
easy.
Let's go ahead with whichever screen we can both benefit from.
Can you see
Yes.
you still see my notes, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But let's proceed, Renee. That's okay.
But you could see at least you could see the main slide, right?
For
We
sure.
can. Yes, yes.
All right. Well, that's fine. I don't know. You know, this always happens when I had it working before. I'm not sure what's happening, but hopefully this is still okay. Anyway, thank you so much for having me tonight. I am so excited to present to your district about global grants, and I want everyone to learn a lot about the process of applying for global grants. So, and I'm looking forward to answering a bunch of questions as well. So first of all, I just want to say a little bit about myself. I am one of 23 regional grants officers at the Rotary Foundation, and we're divided into 4 regions around the world. I work in the region where we have the United States, Canada, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, and the Philippines. And then we also have a second region that focuses on Latin America, a third region that works with Europe and Africa, and then finally the fourth region is Asia. So we work very hard to provide, we provide you with information, and we're like your main resource as far as global all grants are concerned. So we are your first point of contact, and we're happy to help you, coach you on having a successful global grant application. And that's really what I'm going to talk to you about today. So, features of a global grant. Global grants fund very large-scale, long-term projects that have measurable results. Global grants, as you know, must align with an area of focus and include an international partnership. There's a minimum budget of $30,000 for a global grant, and all global grants that are funded with DDF, district designated funds, can receive an 80% match from the World Fund. Hopefully everybody is familiar with our areas of focus. Through global grants, clubs and districts can work together to address one or more areas of focus, although we always encourage clubs and districts to really focus on no more than 2 areas of focus to make a more focused application. So there has been in the past where times where districts or clubs thought, oh, the more areas of focus we address, the better the application. But that's not true. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on 1 or 2 areas of focus, and you'll have a community assessment to prove how you're going to accomplish your goals for your global grant. I feel that a lot of people still don't know that these resources are available. And yes, there are so many resources available, but the guidelines for the areas of focus, there is an individual document for each area, and these are available on the Rotary website. And I strongly encourage you to take a look at these, especially when you are deciding to design a global grant with a particular area of focus. These guidelines really provide a lot of information. They even address specific grants, grant types that people want to pursue. So I strongly recommend that. After this session, I'm happy to guide you to where these guidelines are on the Rotary website. So what activities are available through global grants? Well, we have 3 types. Humanitarian projects that provide sustainable, measurable outcomes that address communities' needs. Secondly, we have vocational training teams. We don't see as many of these, but they are a great opportunity to improve job skills for people in a community. There could be educational programs, teams of professionals who travel abroad and teach or gain knowledge. And then finally, my specialty are scholarships. We work with scholarships for international graduate level study, people who are seeking a career in one of the areas of focus. So global grant applications are submitted through the Grant Center at My Rotary. There is no deadline. We accept applications on a rolling basis for humanitarian projects and vocational training teams. For scholarships, that's the only exception where there is a deadline. Deadline for scholarships are always due June 30th of every year. For applications that are through scholarships that possibly are for students wanting to study in maybe January or February in Southern Hemisphere, we'll accept applications 90 days prior to any planned travel. So now I'm going to go through the steps about how to go through the whole process of designing your global grant application. So the first and most important thing that you're going to do when you're developing a project is to conduct a community assessment. This assessment really explores the community's strengths, weaknesses, and assets. It's essential to planning an effective project. And by making this effort to learn about the community in need, you can identify the most relevant opportunities for projects and ensure that your club or district will make a meaningful impact. So, in your global grant application, you want to clearly explain your assessment and describe the methods that you used. These might include things such as surveys, interviews, focus groups even, and you'll explain who you spoke with. You'll identify specific people in the community who have agreed to help lead the project, and you'll describe in detail what you learned from the assessment and be able to explain the project you're proposing. There's actually a separate form that you could submit with the official global grant application that really outlines what, it asks questions that, we need the answers to really understand the community need. And of course, as you see here in this slide, the community assessment tools gives you a nice overview of exactly how to conduct a community assessment. What is also nice about community assessments is if there's any costs associated with doing this assessment, you could actually use your district grant funds to help with any expenses associated with your community assessment. Secondly, of course, resources. And there's so many resources that we have available. A guide to global grants, your grant terms and conditions, and I'll highlight that one because that is a very important document. It highlights all the eligibility criteria as well as restrictions about grants. There is a separate terms and conditions document for district grants, and then there's one for global grants. It used to be combined, if you remember, but now since the district grant and the global grant, they're so different from each other. So now there's two different documents with all the terms and conditions stated. You'll also learn a lot from a grant management seminar. The grant management seminar really can be held in person by a district, or it actually could be done online. We have a learning center, and there's a lot of coursework on that learning center, and it's through the Rotary website where you could take these courses and be qualified to participate in grants. We also have the cadre. Don't forget the cadre, and I'm sure there's cadre members online tonight. Cadre members can offer their expertise and help design global grant applications. If you don't have any contact with a particular cadre member, we can put you in touch with one. We have a list of, I think, over 500 cadre members, and all you need to tell us is the area of focus that you'd like to address in a particular country, and then our stewardship staff will point you in the right direction and put you in touch with an appropriate cadre member. Three, select an area of focus. As I was saying, try to limit your area of focus that you want to address. 1 is usually the best, 2 is okay, but always ensure that your project relates directly to one of our 7 areas of focus. Now, this is I can't highlight this one enough. This is really, I think, one of the most important parts of designing a global grant application. I feel a lot of Rotary members might be scared and feel that the process is too complex, and that's what the staff are there for. Your regional grants officer can help you design the project. So if you have a project in mind, you've done a community assessment, or you're trying to do a community assessment, You know, we are there to help you, put you in touch with the right people like the cadre. But most of all, once you have a solid idea of what you want to accomplish through a global grant, you have, you know, your area of focus, you've done a community assessment, you have a proposed budget, you have a sustainability component. You contact your regional grants officer and we could do a preliminary review to make sure you're on the right track. So in order to explain a little bit, remember I said that we have 23 regional grants officers? Well, we work with global grant projects based on where they are taking place. So for example, I work strictly with global grant projects taking place in the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. So I would be happy to review any applications that for projects that are going to take place in those areas. However, if you're looking to do a project elsewhere in one of the other regions that I had mentioned before, there will be another regional grants officer that works with that particular area, and I could always put you in touch with that person. So always keep in mind, you've got an idea for a global grant, contact a regional grants officer. We also have a contact sheet of which staff work with which countries. I'm happy to provide you with that. Just remember, I am your primary regional grants officer. So if you're ever unsure of anything related to global grant application eligibility, you don't know who to contact to get that preliminary review, don't worry, because we are here for you. We're happy to help you design and coach you through the whole grant process to make sure you're on the right track. The last thing we want to do is decline a grant application. I feel a lot of members are afraid of getting that decline notification, but usually declined applications didn't receive a preliminary review. So please keep in mind, request a preliminary review, and we are more than happy to help you out. All global grant applications should have a great implementation plan. You know, you want to explain how community members were involved in helping design your global grant project. Your budget, very important. You want to provide a detailed budget. And global grants, as you know, can be funded with DDF or cash. DDF is always matched by the World Fund at 80%. You just have to keep in mind that 15% of funding, or I should say 15% of contributions to a global grant must come from outside the host or project country, because this is a partnership between two clubs, two districts, a club and a district. It has to be a partnership to implement this global grant. So we need money coming from outside the host country. Now that only applies to humanitarian global grants and vocational training teams. Scholarships are different. They don't need that 15%. You'll also want to explain a little bit about how you selected suppliers for your budget items. Always explain your sustainability plan. So really, you want to tackle you want solutions to problems that will continue after grant funding ends. So you don't want your grant to end once Rotary funding ends. You want your global grant to continue on and to continue to make an impact. So you'll find solutions based on the strength of your community. You want to maintain local ownership to continue the project on and on. Training, when I hear sustainability, and I'm doing a preliminary review, I'm always looking for maybe a training plan, some type of training that directly aligns with the area of focus you are trying to address. You'll also want to establish measurable outcomes, methods to collect data to continually improve the situation that you're addressing in the host country. And you'll want to purchase items locally if possible. Include a plan to measure and evaluate your impact. You may hear the word impact coming being said a lot lately. You want to incorporate measurement and evaluation into your overall project plan and identify measures that are clearly linked to your overall project goals, and explain how you'll collect the data and specify the person who will be collecting the data. Sometimes global grants involve a cooperating organization. So a cooperating organization is, an organization that may provide some expertise. Actually, maybe they will provide the training component of your grant. This is not required, but sometimes working with a cooperating organization can strengthen your grant. So you'll definitely want to identify the responsibilities of any organization that your club or district is working with to support the global grant. And then finally, just make sure that the application is complete. Provide detailed answers to all the application questions. Try not to leave anything blank. And be as concise as possible. You can also upload any information you need to. There are upload buttons in the application. And of course, we could talk a little bit more during our question and answer session for those of you who maybe not be familiar with the application online. I'm happy to go over those with you. This slide, it's kind of small. I just thought it would be nice. This is something that you can have just to look at later. We don't have to go over this now, but I wanted to just add in an example of a successful project that took place in Haiti. So this was an environment project sponsored by a club in Haiti, and the international sponsor was in the US, and it was very successful. So I'm just going to have that for you to just to keep and look at as an example of a successful project. And overall, I want everybody to know, global grants, yes, they are very complex, but you have support. You will always have the support of the Rotary Foundation grants staff to help you design an impactful, successful project. So we have your back 100% of the time. So please do not hesitate to contact us, because what we want most is for you to have a successful, not only a successful grant, but a successful positive experience actually filling out the global grant application. So those are the ways that you can improve and / design your global grant application. And I am excited to hear what questions you have. The floor is actually yours now. Thank you so much for letting me present this valuable information. I hope it was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Renee. We have a question here. Can global grants reimburse clubs for money already spent on the initial stages of their project?
So according to the terms and conditions for global grants, global grant funds cannot be used for expenses already incurred. And excuse me, is my, okay. I just wanted to make sure I got
You're
the
on, yes.
presentation. Okay, everybody could see me and hear me, okay?
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, that's something, any expenses that have already been done, and this even applies to district grants. Expenses already incurred, they have to be approved first. That's pretty much the short answer of it. Did you have like an example that you wanted to share?
I think this was a question on the chat. So I don't know anyone who
Okay,
can.
I'm just going to the chat now to see what
Yes,
we
yes.
got here.
Right. And you have another question. What is the maximum match you can get from the foundation?
So the maximum match, so we know DDF is matched at 80%. The maximum amount is 400,000. Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. The maximum amount of a grant could be 400,000. Oh my gosh, I might need to double check. But I think it's global. Okay, so the minimum budget of any global grant is $30,000. and it goes up to $400,000. But I think the actual World Fund amount that you can request is $200,000. So, but let me double check on that for you, and I will get back to you. But I'm fairly certain it's 200,000
Okay, thank you.
match.
Another question. What's the value of uploading projects on the Service Project Center? What's the value of uploading projects on the Service
So-
Project Center?
So the Service Project Center is actually brand new. It used to be called Showcase, if anyone remembers Showcase. I think the value is one way is to not only promote the success of your project, but maybe that would help you find partners for future projects. That, in my opinion, I think is really a way to get the word out there that you've been successful and you maybe want to partner on a grant in the future with the club or district that's promoting their project. But we do have staff that are responsible for the Project Service Center, and I could certainly put you in touch if you need more detailed information on how it works and the, you know, other reasons or the, you know, as far as the value of the Project Service Center. The people that designed that could probably provide you more information, but like I said, publicize your project and find partners. It would be a really great tool for that.
Thank you. Another question. What is the average time to get a global grant in place? Can it be achieved in one Rotary year?
So from beginning the application until it's approved by the staff, or do you mean the entire process from starting the application, hopefully getting it approved, and then implemented and complete? A grant could take as long, I mean, a grant may take 1 year, it may take 2, it could take up to 7 years. A global grant could last as long as it needs to, if we're talking about the entire process, as long as proper reporting is submitted. A report, a progress report, is due once every 12 months, once a year. So as long as it's properly reported on, as long as it takes to implement that grant is fine. There's no time limit. But if you're talking about maybe the approval process, that varies from project to project, really. Once I submit, for example, once you submit an application and it's for me, say it's for a project in Barbados, I'll be the first person to review it. I will have probably a lot of questions, maybe a few questions, maybe a lot of questions. So it depends, and there may be some back and forth correspondence, you know, I might be asking for some missing information. You know, we have to make sure that the banking information is in there. Just, you know, items that I need, it really depends on the grant. So a grant can be approved, you know, maybe within a couple weeks if it's all complete and ready to go. Actually, another reason for the preliminary review, faster turnaround time on the review of your grant. So yeah, it really depends. The time, now I see the time for approval. Depending on how much information we request and, you know, the back and forth and getting everything answered. And I'm not the only one that reviews the application either. We'll have a secondary reviewer just to be sure that the application is eligible. So it's not just me making the decision on my own. Sometimes I'll need to enlist the help of an area focus manager, which we have staff there too. I should have mentioned that in the beginning of my presentation, but we do have an area focus manager for each area of focus. So sometimes we will request their assistance in reviewing applications, which could, you know, delay the process of completing the evaluation of the application.
Okay, thank you. Another question here is to ask you to elaborate more on what specific information you need to get out of a community assessment?
So let me, basically we want to know what is the need. Okay, so you have a community and you want to basically survey or meet. I'm trying to think of an example for you. And I'm also going to share the community assessment results form. But say you have a basic education and literacy grant. There is a school nearby that is where the teachers desperately need training or need help in order with their designing their curriculums and perhaps a school in an underprivileged area. We want to know, did you meet with the teachers? Did you meet with the parents of the students that go to that school? I mean, I'm just throwing things. There's so many different things to learn about a community in need. So it's just, the questions are endless. I wish I could attach the community assessment results form, but I will follow up with after this meeting and provide you with the exact questions that we ask in the community assessment form. The assessment form should also be online at my Rotary
Okay.
Grant Center.
Yes.
Errol, before you go back to the chat, we had Dr. Marcus had his hand up for a bit. Dr.
Okay,
Marcus, can you unmute and ask your question if it hasn't been answered already?
Did you say it was Marcus?
Yes.
Marcus? You have a question? Anyone have a question that wants
able to unmute.
Okay, let's try to do it from this
Oh.
side. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
You were saying the
thanks.
host had to unmute me. My apologies for not having my camera. I'm actually in Abuja, Nigeria right now for work, and it is 12:42 a.m. on Thursday. But I just wanted to commend you, Rotary and Renee, for the wonderful presentation. From the Rotary Club of La Amiga side in St. Kitts and Nevis, we're very interested in grants, district grants, global grants, as the case may be. So we hope to engage in at least one of those. But I just wanted to commend you and also to big up my good friend PDG Wadi, who I haven't seen in a while, Thawaka, PDG Wadi, and all the best to everyone. But I do need to go get some sleep, but I really wanted to tune in and listen to the presentation. So thank you so much again.
And thank you. And the reason for this presentation, I really wanted to make it very encouraging, and I don't want people to be afraid to apply for a global grant, because I really want everyone to know you have support. You don't have to work on your global grant applications alone. Not only me, but my colleagues, we're here for you to help you have a positive experience, not only having a successful grant approved, but just the application process in general. So thank you.
We have another 5 minutes for this session. I don't see any other questions. Any other hands up?
I will put my email address in the chat. So if anyone would like to follow up with any questions, maybe you will think of something later. Please don't hesitate to contact me at my email address.
And I
Excuse
do
me,
have
You want to talk with the phone
Excuse-
too.
if I may interrupt, I'm sorry, but there is a question from, I think, Bonaire. And it's not in capital letters. That's why we maybe missed it.
Okay. Can you read
Can
it?
we
It
start?
can be.
Can we start the project from Bonaire to Cambodia? What would be the first step to start the community assessment? I'm talking about a school for children to learn English and vocational education.
Well, you'll definitely want to contact a club or district in Cambodia to begin the process, because you'll need a partner. you'll need a host partner. And that's where we could help you. We could put you in touch with the district in Cambodia and, you know, connect you. I mean, that's another thing that we love to do as staff is make sure we could help you make those connections you need to make. So you'll definitely, if you have a school in mind, you'll want to contact a Rotary member in that district, and the district leadership is what I should say. You'll want to contact the district leadership in Cambodia, and we have that information readily available to help you connect. So that'll be the first step, really, and then you'll work together, and then hopefully you'll contact the school. So you just have to connect with the right people first. But like I said, the first thing is get a Rotary partner, make sure that they're willing to participate.
Okay, we have another question from Elsie. Can clubs in 70/30 partner on a global grant?
So do you mean two clubs partner
In District
on different?
70/30.
So the answer is no. All global grants must be international partnerships. So, but let me say, there are different countries in 70/30, right? So if you're talking about two different countries in District 70/30, that's okay. They just can't be in the same country. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as it's two countries, but just not two clubs in the same country.
And there's still one more question. Hope we have some
yeah.
time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What is the
What
role
is-
of the second club?
No, I see in the areas of focus policy statement, in the
Okay, that's a
section for
question.
prevention of non-communicable diseases, not eligible, number 10. How are we to proceed with a global grant for these areas block while trying to encourage a healthy lifestyle through proper nutrition as it related to childhood obesity prevention?
So if anything that is stated in the guidelines that is not eligible, as staff, we always try to encourage people to use district grant funding because district grants are much more flexible and they don't require the sustainability component. They don't require an area of focus alignment. So we would first say, talk to your district about doing a district grant. Or if you want to talk a little bit more about your idea and see if there is a way to, make something eligible by adding 1, 2, 3, talk to your regional grants officer. Start with me. And if it's for a grant that's taking place in a country that's not one of my territories, I'll make sure you talk to the right person. And you could go ahead and do kind of like that preliminary conversation and see how we could help you or, help you make an eligible project. Anything else?
There was one more question. What is the role of the second club? Is it a financial sponsor?
So clubs and a global grant, it is an equal partnership. So funds should be coming from both the international sponsor and the host sponsor. With that requirement, 15%, I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, 15% of any contributions to a grant must come from outside the project country. So it's not just a financial sponsor. If you're talking about the international sponsor, I mean, we want both clubs to be actively involved and committed to the project. Maybe visit the project, not just financially, but just have a commitment to see an impactful project and work together.
Can you share an example of a project like that so you have matching collaboration
I'm sorry,
from your
what?
experience? Can you share an example of a project that we can have a sense of, relationships in terms of clubs working together from different districts?
I would be happy to. In the interest of time, why don't I make a note and I could follow up with Wadi and give you a few examples, actually. I mean, we've got we've got plenty of grants that have been very successful, so I'd be happy to work with Wadi to, draft something so I could share with
Okay.
you if that's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That would be
Thank you
better.
very much. I think we now need to wrap up this session and get into the other session. And I call on, thank you very much, Renee. Thank you
Thank
very much
you.
for your presentation. We appreciate it very much. Yes. And I call on past District Governor Wadi to introduce the speaker for the next session. PDG.
Thank you. I don't know if Renee will stay with us or
Would you like
because
me to stay?
you
need me to
yes,
stay.
of course.
I will
Wonderful.
stay. I'll just stay for a little bit. It's going on 7 o'clock here, and I
Yeah.
do have some things to do. So I'll stay on for a little bit, but then I'm going to have to.
So whenever it pleases you, please. Thank you so much
Okay,
again.
but I just, from the
I
bottom
think-
of my heart, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but I
No
hope the
problem.
presentation was helpful, and I
And
hope people are encouraged and want to apply for global grants now.
Yeah, I think it was the presentation was wonderful, and especially let's say the emphasis you emphasize that there are resources not only on the website but also, let's say, in person, in the way that we can speak to someone or more people than only what we see on the website. It's not
Always.
only
We're here for
that's a
you.
good
Yes.
thing. Thank you so much once
Thank
again.
you.
Then let me introduce our next presenter, our own and well-known Sharon Gardner, past Assistant Governor. Sharon is a distinguished medical professional and dedicated Rotarian with a strong commitment to service and philanthropy. She joined Rotary in 2004 and has since played an integral role in various leadership positions within the organization. A second-generation Rotarian, Sharon is continuing a legacy of service. She has served multiple terms as secretary as well as past club director of international service and past president of the Rotary Club of Antigua. She also held the position of assistant governor for Antigua Montserrat. Currently, she serves as the district annual fund subcommittee chair. Additionally, she is a founding member of the District Polio Plus Society and has been actively involved in initiatives such as the Childhood Obesity Project. Sharon is a major donor level 1 to the Rotary Foundation, reflecting her deep commitment to Rotary's mission of service and global impact. I'll keep it short, Sharon, in the interest of time, and yeah. Please start your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, all. It is indeed my pleasure to speak to you on something that I am very passionate about. I speak to you today as the chair of the annual fund and also as a major donor. Most people have a notion of wanting to do good. We can choose to help an individual, a family, a worthy cause. We can help on an individual basis, or as in our case, we can join with 1.2 million like-minded people and help on a global scale. The Rotary Foundation is how we get our 1.2 million friends to work in unison. It is how we do the good in Rotary. Most people have a notion of wanting to do good. We can choose to help, We can appreciate that the Rotary Foundation is the fundraising arm of Rotary. It provides the framework for doing good. Its chief objective is the eradication of polio and improvements globally in the 7 areas of focus. The foundation is governed by a board of trustees who each serve 4-year terms. The president-elect will nominate members. The president-elect of Rotary International will nominate members and also will be the chair for at least 1 year. The foundation invests and manages our contributions. This is done with a balance of long-term and short-term instruments and with the right amount of liquidity. Our contributions to the Polio Plus are matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. For every $1 we contribute, they give $2, making every $1 become $3. The trustees decide how much money is spent on the different areas of focus. The money that the Rotary Foundation makes available to us is in the form of grants, and we just had an excellent presentation on how to apply for global grants. So this is important because to apply for a global grant, you needed to have put money into the Rotary Foundation. The bigger grants are called programs of scale, which take on mammoth tasks like the eradication of malaria in an entire African country. And more commonly, we have global grants, which would involve at least 2 Rotary clubs, specifically not from the same country, but as I said, theoretically can be within the same district. Global grants start at $30,000 US and apparently can go as high as $400,000 US. And district grants, of course, tend to be much smaller. Money can be also allocated for disaster response. When we give to the foundation as Rotarians, we have to select a category to give it to. So the categories are listed there: annual fund share, disaster response, endowment, and so on. The annual fund share, sorry, my slides are not progressing.
We're
Okay,
seeing the annual fund share now.
Yeah, thank you. The annual fund share is the primary source of funding for the foundation. This is where we apply the slogan, every Rotarian, every year, to not only contribute, but to participate in grants every year. And every Rotarian every year is a requirement for Rotarians to give at least 25 US to the foundation every year. Of course, the preferred amount would be 100 US or even 1,000 US. And if every member in your club can donate at least 25 US, then your club can get the EREY banner as well. 5% of the fund is used for expenses, operating expenses, and the remainder split evenly between district designated funds and the World Fund. When we donate to the fund, the foundation invests the contribution for 3 years, after which and during which the clubs in our district can plan projects and apply for both global and district grants. We can also donate directly to the World Fund. Funds donated there can be credited towards the club's annual giving goal and per capita giving, but do not generate district designated funds. For the funds to go to the district, it has to be in the annual fund share. So we say charity begins at home. Let us strengthen our district first. All annual fund contributions generate foundation recognition points and count towards these recognition levels in the program. So like Paul Harris Fellow, Major Donor, Sustaining Member. Annual fund share contributions is the primary source of funding for the foundation, and choosing this option, is strongly recommended. All Rotarians should have logged on to rotary.org by now, .org. It is also encouraged that you donate to the fund directly. You can check once online your own giving donor history online and assess what little extra you can give to make your next Paul Harris level. So you might be at 800 US and you just have to put an extra 200 points in and you're a Paul Harris, or you could be at 18 or 19 similarly. Our district has a Polio Plus initiative that we should also contribute to, understanding that those funds are used only in the eradication of polio, supporting efforts for surveillance and vaccination. Contributions to the Disaster Response Fund can be made by individuals, clubs, or even from the district designated funds. For that matter, district designated funds have to be used within 5 years. So if for any reason there was not a heavy demand on the funds and they're unused funds after 5 years, the district can then decide to put it in one of the other areas, including the World Fund, Disaster Fund, Polio Fund. They will count, monies contributed to disaster response will count towards foundation recognition, but not towards the club's goals for annual fund, because they will not contribute to ERA or sustaining members, as they will not be used for traditional grants. So if you put your money for disaster response, it is used for disaster response, not for grants or anything else. We want a better world for our children and our descendants. Contributions to the endowment ensure that the good of Rotary does not end with us. This fund is invested in perpetuity, with the interest earned being reinvested into the projects. We can make a gift to the fund to celebrate a major milestone or an accomplishment, as well as leave something in the foundation in your will. So you can do both. You don't have to wait until your will to give to the foundation. You can go ahead and give now. You got a major drug promotion, great. You had some exciting thing in your life, celebrate it with a contribution to the endowment fund. So for me, the easiest way to give is with your on the Rotary International website. This is particularly useful if your card will give you extra points or maybe airline miles. So win-win. One can also send a contribution by wire transfer or by check, but then you also have to complete a Rotary Foundation contribution form, and it is critical to include your member ID. You can also go onto the Rotary website and the funds on a regular basis. So you could give $25 every month, $1,000 every year. And should your circumstances change, you can always go back onto Rotary Direct and stop that automatic giving. So funds can also be submitted via your club secretary or treasurer, who will then have to complete a multiple donor form. I say it again, the easiest way is to just give it directly yourself. Some companies will match the donations of their workers. Donations can be made in honor of someone by including the name on the donation form, but contributions will still be seen to come from the paying Rotarian. This is more important in jurisdictions that allow tax deductions for contributions to Rotary. Another novel way to raise funds for Rotary is to establish a cause on raise.rotary.org. Let your friends and family know by text or email to encourage them to support the foundation and the event that you might want to celebrate. You can create the event as an individual or as a team. So let's see how District 7030 is doing. Our 2,400 Rotarians. Well, we have 30% have given so far for this year, and the year is almost finished. So the other 70% need to go on rotary.org/donate. We have 422 sustaining members. So these would be Rotarians who have given 100 US so far for the year. And we have 31 Rotarians who are Paul Harris Society eligible. And as you can see, 7 of our 75 clubs would qualify for ERA. Joining Rotary and assuming a leadership role highlights your desire to do good in the world. It carries a belief that we have something to offer. The Rotary Foundation needs your money. Rotary International needs your knowledge, time, passion, service above self. We meet regularly as Rotarians as part of how Rotary is designed. We have service through fellowship, but eating a meal does not help people. I hope you understand the importance of giving to the Rotary Foundation. Maybe giving up one dinner, outfit, or fete per year can offset your contribution for the year. It will go a long way towards taking care of the needs of an entire community through the good of the foundation. 2 years ago, I broke my ankle on a British Airways flight. I returned to Antigua for surgery and could not wait there for 3 months. I was loaned a wheelchair and crutches by the Rotary Club of Antigua Sundown, as they had imported equipment to help with the district clinics. I was as humbled as I was happy to benefit from the good of Rotary, even as a major donor. We are busy helping the less fortunate, and sometimes we could end up or have a neighbor who ends up being the one in need. In becoming a Rotary member, you agreed to support the Rotary Foundation. You pledged to help those less fortunate. You have the means and the framework to do good in the world. And I close with the phrase that encourages us to use our talents. Those who can, must. And I would also like to acknowledge the assistance of my Fritz Grennan, who helped with the French translation for these slides.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, District Annual Funds Subcommittee Chair, Dr. Sharon, and past Assistant Governor. We want to thank you for such a clear and concise and presentation. Now we have questions. We open the question. We have a few minutes to question in. We can do two ways. We can have it in the chat, or if you raise your hands, we can give you access to. No questions?
That suits me fine. Everybody could just go and log on to rotary.org and just make their donation instead. Yeah, we need to give.
I think you did such a wonderful presentation that you're clear. I mean, we have no questions at all. So therefore, let me bring back past District Governor Waddy to wrap up this session and give his input on the discussion, and then we can call it an evening.
Thank you. And let me thank past Assistant Governor Sharon and our District Grant Subcommittee Chair, Annual Fund Chair, for a wonderful presentation, very clear, and let's say she highlighted and then especially the last part of her presentation, why we really need to donate and give to the foundation. Thank you so much, and thank you, Fritz, also for helping us translate this presentation. What I think are for tonight's key takeaways? We learned and we heard that through the Rotary Foundation, you can transform lives. In fact, the foundation could be our major financial driver for us doing good in the world. The only thing that we have to do, of course, is make use of it. That is what we've learned in the first part. The contributions we give, they support sustainable, high-impact projects worldwide, not only in our community. Bonaire, for example, has asked about a project in Cambodia. Every donation, big or small, that's why we have the, excuse me, every Rotarian, every year program, which starts at $25, helps fund global grants, district grants, polio eradication, and so forth. And we've learned that global grants, and we know that global grants, bigger projects, they can make a lasting and a bigger impact in what we as Rotarians wants to do in our community and around the world. But you have to align them with the 7 areas of focus. Your project has to be aligned with the 7 areas of focus and demonstrate long-term sustainability, because that is what we want to do. We don't want to keep on doing the same thing year and year over. We want to do a project, have a good execution of the project, and of course, it should be sustainable for the community. We need strong partnerships. That's why going to conferences, conventions are a wonderful way of getting to know people, getting to know other Rotarians that I really want to do projects with our district, for example. Yeah. Many times I will say, and that is out of my own experience, that people, Rotarians in the USA, for example, or in Holland, in the Netherlands, they're asking for projects because they want to do projects in Suriname or in the Caribbean. So please, but in order to have a good global grant project or application, and an application that can be approved fast, we are lucky that there are enough resources, not only on the website, but especially within the office of the Rotary and the Rotary Foundation. So we have to make use of it. So let's start drafting or at least applying for a global grant, and not having having made use of the preliminary review of the grants officers. We also have all these documents. Whenever you want to do a global grant project, please try and to read these documents. They will give you a good guidance how to set up your global grant project. It will make the approval, as we've heard, much easier than when we do it just on our own and don't really dive into these documents. And of course, if you want to make use of the foundation, we have to give also to the foundation. And as already said and mentioned, emphasized, it could be as little as $25, just as little as $25. And still, we have almost 70% of our members not giving this $25 to the foundation. Yes, maybe there are clubs that is giving, but maybe it should be a new policy of the clubs to ask the members, each and every member, to give, besides what the club is giving, also the $25. You can imagine 70% of it would be almost maybe a $40,000 that we could give to the foundation. And as we know, after 3 years, half of it will come back to us. With regard to district grants, it wasn't mentioned today because it was not really the focus of our session. We will focus on that during the in-person sessions on the in Trinidad and Port of Spain. But last year, or maybe better to say this year, we got an increase. Before, we had an average of about 7, 8, 10 max of district grant applications. This year we got 28 applications. But the money was so small, so some clubs didn't get, and if they got a smaller amount than they requested. So that's one more reason to give, and first to be eligible, but secondly to make that fund a little bit bigger so we can share more, give more, distribute more to the clubs. So encourage your members to give every year the $25, and of course, if it's possible, much more. So next step, what should we do? Set a giving goal for your club and track progress through the year. At this moment, we still have 20 clubs not giving to the annual fund. Yeah, and for Polio Plus, it's even a higher number. But for the annual fund, it's 20 clubs at this time. Yes, I know we have it's usual that only in the, let's say in the last quarter, clubs will start giving. But it's nice if we can see that before the coming conference, and then with pride, we can say that we have reached our goal of 0 non-giving clubs. Identify global grant projects or district grant projects. Since your incoming leaders start preparing your year now, you're already in preparation time. Thank you for being in this session, for example. But start also looking at what kind of global grant projects you can do. What do you need to have a good global grant project proposal? And of course, also district grants. And then, as our annual fund chair already said, use Rotary Direct. It's easier for recurring donations and maximize impact. And what I can say, and especially to the time you have spent now with us, I know that you're a dedicated Rotarian. You're taking up a leadership role. Unfortunately, going back to the giving to the foundation, out of my head, I can say that maybe only 30% of our leaders, president, foundation chair, secretary, are really donating to the foundation. And you know, when you lead, you have to lead by example. And this is one area you can lead by example, by just giving at least $25. As we close, let's remember the power of collaboration and service, doing it together. As we mentioned earlier, our combined efforts can create a lasting impact on communities in our local communities and around the world. That's why we encourage everyone to stay engaged and share the mission of the Rotary Foundation and continue fostering a spirit of global unity and peace. Thank you for your attention, and thank you once again for being in this session.
Thank you, PDG Wadi. We do have a question in the chat about when will the district MOU be available?
Most of the time, it will be just before the conference, and what we see is that let's say between conference and end of the year, since the application or not, yeah, the submitting deadline is the 30th of June. We will have to submit it and ask, we will have to forward it once again to the clubs. So just before the conference, it will be emailed to the clubs, and we will do it the second time just before the deadline, just as a reminder.
Hi, everyone. As some of you know, I've been searching.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Just in closing, I would like to again remind us to complete the online evaluation form. That is important for us to gauge ourselves to see how well we're not doing. I would like to thank again our District Governor-elect, Soraya, our presenters, PDG Wadi, Regional Grants Officer Renee, and our District Annual Fund Subcommittee Chair, Dr. Sharon Cordner, for the wonderful presentation this evening. Let's give them a round of applause. It was very informative, very concise, and we look forward to the other sessions within the next couple of weeks, and then to the grand finale at the District Pets. Thank you very much, everyone, and do have a wonderful evening and a wonderful, wonderful and safe weekend. Thank you.